bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome into the High School Fan Zone, a Monday night edition here on 100.7 The Score, TSportsNetwork.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. We're starting off strong here. Brought to you by Happy State Bank. We're starting with the Mustang Fan Zone. I was requested to do a Randy Rosetta impression. I will not. I am Clint Scott in for Randy tonight. And we're going to talk some baseball. And Coach Bibb, thanks for coming on. Yeah. We have head baseball coach Brad Bibb with us. Always good to talk to you.
Absolutely. It's fun to be here. It's season's here, so yeah. It's exciting to talk about playing and not practicing and scrimmaging and stuff like that. So
yeah, you've been on a couple of times this year, but this is like the official season preview since it started.
Yeah, it is. I had to pinch hit for basketball one time, I think, and I was hoping Randy wasn't going to ask me basketball questions, so I would have had to really wing it on that one. So I'm a little bit more in my lane now.
Perfect. Well, let's dive right in. As you mentioned, hey, scrimmages are done. You guys are ready to see live fire where everything counts, and you'll start that off with the Southwest Ford Classic this Thursday in the Metroplex area. But I do want to ask about just the scrimmages first. What did you see out of your team that you liked, where you're still looking, where maybe you guys need to grow? What did you see from the scrimmages?
Sure. We kind of revamped our scrimmages this year, played some different people for a variety of reasons, but got some new blood to go against, and I think we saw some good things. We were able to compete. We were able to throw a bunch of guys on the hill. We've got a lot of guys coming back, but we're trying to kind of identify roles and figure out where guys go and play a bunch of kids in a bunch of different spots and try to be a little more versatile and a little more multiple with the team that we can put out there. Feel like we're probably a little ahead defensively and on the mound right now, which sometimes this time of year you're not. We feel pretty good about where we're at right there. We're still a little behind with the offensive part of the game, and so we've been working hard at it. Kids are working hard. We're trying to identify things we can work on inside and take outside, and we're still working with that. So, but we're seeing some encouraging signs. We feel good about where we're at overall.
Now, you mentioned, and I'm sure you've talked about it before with Randy, but you guys bring back a lot. So when you're looking at how much was set coming into the year, of how much you knew, if you put it at like a percentage-wise, how much did you know about your team already as far as where everyone was going to line up?
It's a really interesting question. We have a lot of guys back, and that's a really nice thing to have. We're trying to create a bunch of competition with those guys, and we're honestly probably a serious two deep at every position right now, which I don't know that we've been since I've been here, even when I was an assistant here. We really feel like we got two guys at every spot right now, and so we're trying to create some competition with guys, and we're seeing some guys produce, and we're seeing some guys get after each other, and I think that's really good for us to try to carry into the season.
I always like to do at this point kind of a self-projection from the coach. And, you talked about, hey, bats are a little bit behind right now. But when you look at when you're finished up with district play and hopefully going into a playoff run, what do you think the strengths of this team will be?
Okay. I think we have kids on the mound that can really throw. We have a really good mix. We got a couple of left-handers. We've got some right-handers that can throw with a little velocity. Can spin it a little bit. We got a couple of guys who really focus on pitching all the time that have really stepped up and made a jump for us. I think we're going to be really deep on the mound. And so I don't know that we've got a guy that's going to go 1-0 everybody. I don't know that we've got that guy, but I think we've got 4 or 5 or 6 guys that can give us innings and can allow us to play defense behind them. And hopefully scratch out some runs enough to where we can win some games. I don't think we're a 12-10 every game team. I don't think we're a 1-0 every game team. I think we're going to be a mix of all three. But I do think that our pitching and our defense is going to carry us because we're going to see guys who can throw, and so we've got to be able to handle the pitching and the defense part. So when we do run up against a guy who's running it up there pretty good, we can win that game. We can scratch out enough to win that game.
All right, if you had to pick and you knew you were going to be either a team that was like a 1-0 game in, game out, or we won games 12-10, which would you pick?
Yeah, it's tough because the 1-0 games are nail biters, but the 12-10 games, you kind of want to throw stuff. So I think I'd rather go with the pitching and defense team, to be honest with you.
That's good for the blood pressure.
Sure,
and you always want pitching in postseason, right? So
right.
Yeah,
and that is a big deal. I mean, when you think about May and you think about 3-game series and all that, you need to have a mix of guys down there that can do a lot of different roles for you on the mound, and so that's what we're trying to create.
Competition or lineups decided aside, when you have a lot of guys back, it means a lot of guys that hopefully took whatever the last words you said to them last season to heart. What was the main focus, or some main focuses, I guess, from last season?
Sure. We do have a lot of guys back, and so probably the nicest part about that is nothing's new for them. They've seen a varsity season. They've seen the grind that it is, and so that's a good thing. We've focused a lot on strength. We felt like we had to get stronger. We felt like that would help us with our offense at the plate, and so we've lifted a ton of weights in the fall. We focused on togetherness and camaraderie and rooting for each other and cheering for each other, because it's hard to do that sometimes. Guys get selfish and guys get focused on themselves, and that's at every level. I know, college teams fight that, professional teams fight that. It's a big deal, and so we've really tried to create camaraderie in situations where they got to be a little uncomfortable with each other, and I feel like we're really making some strides in that area. And so I think those two things are going to help us on the field, and then again, the experience factor and having a lot of guys back who have done it before, I think, is really going to pay off.
Now, are you a coach that's lifting as well? It's like, hey, can anyone do as many bench press sets as Coach Bibb?
Before the first number of my age was a 4, I probably did a little more of that. But nowadays, I just watch. Try to encourage best I can.
That's good. I've been an encourager my whole life.
There you go.
So, you need those people in your life as well. Talking about camaraderie, that's important. So.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's a good note to end on for the first break. When we come back, we'll get you into the real nitty-gritty of the season. Southwest Ford Classic coming up on Thursday. We'll also talk about the Tournament of Champions, First Big Classic, all of that. And, you guys get to start off district play with a rival. So
we do.
Lots to talk about as we continue on here with the Mustang Fan Zone and preview the season. It is the high school Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Coronado athletics. You're listening to the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score on the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back to the Mustang Fan Zone here on 100.7 The Score. Clint Scott in for Randy Rosetta tonight. And we're talking with Coach Bibb and talking some Coronado baseball as the Mustangs will start their season off with the Southwest Ford Classic in the Metroplex area on Thursday. I assume this answer will not have changed from when I've asked this the past couple of years, but what are you specifically trying to get out of this first tournament that you're playing in?
It's always different every year. You play different people. You want to try to develop a little bit of a feel for who's going to be where. Who are you going to play in different spots? Who are you going to put in different spots in the lineup? You also want to try to throw your top 5 guys to start games and kind of see what you have there. Does a guy fit better as a starter or reliever? When we get into district and we're only playing 2 or 3 games a week, how do we kind of use those guys? So it's a chance to kind of mix and match that stuff. But the biggest thing is just, preparing to playing a couple of games in a day, which is long, especially this time of year. But just going to see somebody different and preparing for a game day and getting to play by the rules. Scrimmages, we move guys in and out all over the place. Now we're playing by the rules of the game. And so how do we use different guys? How do we use guys to courtesy run? How do we use guys to pinch hit? Just things like that. And so it really gives us a chance to sit down and have a plan going in and then kind of see where can we tweak that plan to get guys in the best spot we can.
I'm sure there's probably a delicate balance of doing that and you're figuring out your lineup and spots and things like that. And also saying like, hey, this is prepping us for district because it's going to be here before you before you know. Is that something you talk about with your team, or is it more just, hey, they're ready to go play against other competition?
Well, it is, and we're kind of unfortunate. We were supposed to play, I think, Waxahachie leading off this tournament, and they dropped or something happened. And so they replaced him with Abilene Wiley, who's been in our district for the last 6 years. And so our kids are geeked because we get to play Wiley the first game. And I talked to them today. I said, guys, the Wiley game is tied for the 17th most important game of the year because we have 16 district games that are more important than that. And so if we beat Wiley and go 1-4 this weekend, we're going to feel terrible about ourselves, you know. And if we lose to Wiley and go 4-1, we're going to feel really good about ourselves. So that game means nothing, you know. And so it's hard to kind of get them to understand that all 5 of these is a process toward getting ready for district. And so we're going to work on that and go just compete against some different people. And so I think it's a good mix of teams. There's a couple of 6As in there, a few 3 5As. I think it's a good mix of teams for us to start with.
I assume they'll also be geeked out on March 11th when you guys start district play. And it's not just the start of district. You're starting off with your 2-game set against Monterey. Would you rather that be not the first series? Does it matter? Is it any time, any place, anywhere?
It doesn't matter. You know, there's so many good teams in our district, and they're one of them. And they've had a ton of success, and Ralph's done a great job over there. And it's going to be fun to start with them. I think we're more excited, and I know I'm more excited about not having to start district the week before that. We actually get 3 weeks of tournaments and no district games and all that stuff. So we'll play whoever we have to on March 11th. We'll be ready to go. But it will be neat to play those guys. I'm excited about the 2-game series this year. I think it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be strategic. I think it's going to kind of level the playing field and make sure you see everybody's ace one time. And we've gotten bit by that the last couple of years with the way the schedule worked out. And so I'm excited that I think it's going to be a little more fair for everybody, and we'll kind of see who the best teams are.
Yeah, it's it really doesn't matter on the sport for the district that you guys have been in. It's all as competitive and all as fun. This year, I mean, it's that to the max. And as a spectator, I'm very much looking forward to it. As a coach, I know you're looking forward to, but I would also assume it'll make you kind of want to pull your hair out when you look at all the competition and good competition you guys are going to face.
It will, but we're really excited about this district. I think it fits us better. I know the travel is going to fit us better.
Yeah.
The trips to Abilene have been really difficult. And I think the Abilene guys would say the same thing. It's taken a lot out of all of us the last 2 years to do that trip. And so I think the trip to Amarillo is a lot better. I think it's going to keep our kids fresher, honestly, and I think we fit better in that district. So we are really excited. We can't wait to get it going, but these 3 tournaments are going to be big to help us get there.
Coach, thanks for sitting down with us. Good luck. You'll start it on Thursday, and it's time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Clint.
This is head coach Brad Bibb, and this has been the Mustang Fan Zone. Certainly looking forward to catching up with him as their season goes along. We will end the Mustang Fan Zone and turn the page to Estacado. That's coming up next on 100.7 The Score.